You know that specific kind of silence that happens right after a loud noise stops? It's not peaceful. It's heavy. It presses against your eardrums like water pressure at the bottom of the ocean. That is the silence I am listening to right now, sitting in the dark of my living room, clutching a kitchen knife so hard my knuckles have turned white. My name is Mark, and I live in Unit 4A of the Crestwood Apartments. It's one of those old brick buildings in the city that was renovated a few years ago to attract younger tenants. They slapped a fresh coat of gray paint on the walls and installed fancy smart locks on every door, but the bones of the place are rotting. The floors still creak with every step, and the walls are still paper thin. You can hear everything. If someone drops a spoon 3 doors down, you hear it. If someone sneezes upstairs, you say, "Bless you." Especially from apartment 4B, the unit right across the hall from me. A young couple, Arthur and Sarah, lived there with their newborn baby. I say lived, past tense, because I have a terrible feeling that I am the only person left alive on the 4th floor. It all started tonight at exactly 2:13 a.m. I was awake, scrolling through Reddit, unable to sleep because the baby in 4B had been screaming for over an hour. It wasn't just a normal cry of hunger or a dirty diaper. It was a high-pitched, terrified shriek that drilled right into your skull and rattled your teeth. Naturally, the building's group chat on WhatsApp started blowing up. We have a group chat for the residents. Usually, it's just people complaining about stolen packages or asking to borrow a screwdriver. But tonight, everyone was agitated. A notification popped up from Unit 3A. It was Mike, the guy downstairs who works in finance. He wrote, "Is anyone else hearing this? It's been an hour. I have work at 6 a.m. Then Karen from 5B chimed in immediately after. She typed, "Seriously, it sounds like they are torturing the poor kid. Can someone go knock on their door?" I lay in bed, watching the messages roll in. I felt annoyed, sure, but mostly I just felt sorry for Arthur. He was a timid, quiet guy. Whenever I saw him in the hallway, he would look down at his shoes and mumble a quick hello. He looked like a man who hadn't slept in months, with dark circles under his eyes that looked like bruises. The screaming from 4B got louder. It sounded breathless, desperate, like the kid was gasping for air between wails. And then, Arthur finally replied to the group. I remember staring at the message, trying to make sense of the wording. It simply said, "I will choke him out immediately. I promise I won't disturb everyone anymore." I froze. My thumb hovered over the screen. Choke him out? Who talks about their own child like that? Even if you are exhausted and frustrated, that is a violent choice of words. I was about to type a reply, asking if he needed help, but before my thumbs could hit the letters, the crying stopped. It didn't fade away. It didn't turn into soft whimpering. It was cut off, abruptly, like someone had pulled the plug on a radio. 1 second, there was an ear-piercing scream that filled the entire floor. The next second, total, suffocating silence. The air in my bedroom felt suddenly colder. The group chat, which had been active a moment ago, went completely dead. Nobody knew what to say. We were all thinking the same thing. Did he actually do it? Part 2. The typo. 5 minutes passed. The silence from across the hall was deafening. Finally, a new message appeared. It was from Josh in Unit 4C, the college student who lived on the other side of Arthur. Josh wrote, dude, that's not funny. Another neighbor, Dave from 5A, who was sort of the unofficial building manager, added his thoughts. He typed, "Arthur, man, you can't make jokes like that. Is the baby okay?" No response from 4B. I sat up in bed, straining my ears to hear anything from across the hall. Usually, I can hear Arthur walking around, or his wife humming. But now, nothing. Just the low hum of the refrigerator in my own kitchen and the beating of my own heart. Then, Josh from 4C texted again. He said, "I'm gonna go check on them. This is weird." He followed it up with, "Burb." I saw the light under my front door flicker as the motion sensor in the hallway activated. I heard Josh's door open, creak, click. I heard his footsteps. He was wearing flip-flops. I could tell by the distinct slapping sound against the linoleum floor. Slap, slap, slap. He stopped in front of Arthur's door. 4B. I held my breath, listening. I expected to hear him knock and ask what was going on, and he did. I heard a soft knock. Rap, rap. Arthur? Josh's voice was muffled. You good? I expected to hear Arthur's voice responding from inside, but there was no answer. Instead, I heard the mechanical whir of the smart lock disengaging. Whir. Click. The door opened immediately. It opened too fast. Like someone was standing right behind the door, hand on the latch, waiting for him. Josh stepped inside without saying another word. Then, the door closed softly. Click. I stared at my phone, waiting for Josh to update the group. 1 minute passed. 2 minutes. 5 minutes. I typed a message into the text box but didn't send it. Josh? You good? I deleted it. I didn't want to seem paranoid. Then, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Josh in the group chat. I read it, and a cold wave of nausea washed over me. The message read, "Everything is fine. The baby is sleeping. Please go back to bed. Sorry for the worry." I stared at those words until they blurred. You have to understand something about Josh. I have played online video games with this kid. I have seen him text in the group chat for 2 years. He is allergic to grammar. He never uses capital letters. He never uses periods. He ends every sentence with, "laugh my ass off," or lol, or a skull emoji. But this message, it was perfectly capitalized. It was formal. It was clinical. Please go back to bed. That wasn't Josh. Someone else was holding Josh's phone. And whoever it was, they were inside apartment 4B. Part 3. The Viewer. I slowly got out of bed. I didn't turn on any lights. If something was happening across the hall, I didn't want them to know I was awake. My phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't the group chat. It was a private message. It was from Dave, the neighbor in 5A upstairs. Dave's message read, "Hey man, you awake?" I hesitated. Dave was a big guy, a construction worker. If anyone could help, it was him. I replied, "Yeah." "Did you see Josh's text?" The 3 dots appeared immediately, showing he was typing. Dave replied,
That's why I'm messaging you.
"That's why I'm messaging you.
Sound like Josh.
That doesn't sound like Josh."
Go back to bed. The kid can...
I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Validation. I wasn't crazy. I typed back, "He went into 4B and hasn't come out." I heard him knock, and they let him in instantly. No words, just open and shut. Dave replied, "Okay, that's bad. Listen, don't go out there. I'm going to call the cops, but keep your door locked." I stood in my hallway, gripping my phone. My front door has a peephole. It's one of those old-fashioned ones with a fisheye lens that distorts everything. I knew I shouldn't look. Every horror movie logic told me not to look, but the silence was driving me insane. I tiptoed to the door. I pressed my eye against the cold brass of the viewer. At first, I saw nothing but the distorted, yellow-tinted hallway. The motion sensor light had timed out, so it was dim. But then, I saw movement right in front of my door. Something blocked the light. I focused. It was a face. It was pressed so close to the door that the nose was flattened against the wood. It was Arthur, the father from 4B. But through the fisheye lens, his face was a nightmare. His forehead was bulbous, his chin tiny, his eyes stretched wide apart. He wasn't blinking. He was staring right into the peephole. Right into my eye. I jumped back, covering my mouth to stifle a scream. Did he see me? Can you see light through the peephole from the other side? I waited for him to bang on the door. I waited for him to start screaming, but he didn't. I leaned back in, just an inch, to check if he was still there. He was gone. The hallway was empty. How did he move so fast? I didn't hear footsteps. My phone buzzed again. It was Dave. Dave's message. "Police are on their way. I called the direct line to the local precinct. My buddy works there. He's sending a patrol car. Should be there in 5.
Arthur was just
I
at my
replied.
door.
Dave,
staring through
Arthur
my
was just
peephole.
at my door. He was staring through my peephole. Dave replied immediately. Did he say anything? I typed, no. He just stared. He looked. Wrong. His skin was gray. Dave replied, stay calm. The officer is entering the building now. I can see the lights from my window. A wave of relief washed over me. A few minutes later, I heard the elevator ding. Then, heavy footsteps. Not flip-flops, boots. I went back to the peephole. I saw a police officer standing in the hallway. He was tall, wearing the standard dark blue uniform, but he had his hat pulled down very low, obscuring his eyes. He knocked on Arthur's door. Police, open up, he shouted. No answer. Then he turned and walked straight toward my door. He didn't look at a notebook. He didn't check the apartment numbers. He just knew. Knock, knock, knock. Police. The voice grunted from the other side. I need to speak to the resident of 4A. I reached for the deadbolt, my hand shaking. I was about to unlock it, but then something stopped me. A survival instinct. A voice in the back of my head screaming, no. Why was he alone? In our city, police never respond to potential domestic violence or murder calls alone. It's always 2 officers. Always. And his uniform. Looking through the peephole, I noticed something. The shirt was baggy. It didn't fit him right. And there was no radio on his shoulder. Sir? Open the door, the cop said, his voice impatient. I backed away from the door. The safety chain is stuck. I lied, my voice cracking. It's jammed. Just tell me what's going on. The cop paused. I just checked 4B, the cop said through the door. It was a misunderstanding. The baby was sick. The neighbor, Josh, is in there helping them clean up. He's fine. Everyone is fine. Lies. I had been standing at the door the entire time. I never heard 4B open. I never heard him talk to anyone inside. He never went into 4B. I need you to open the door so I can verify your safety, the cop insisted. He jiggled the handle. I'm calling 911 to verify your badge number, I shouted. Silence. Through the peephole, I saw the officer stiffen. He didn't pull out a radio to call it in. Instead, he pulled out a cell phone. He typed something quickly. At the exact same moment, my phone buzzed in my hand. It was a message from Dave. Dave, open the door, Mark. The cop is saying you're refusing to cooperate. Don't make this harder. I stared at the screen. The logic pieces fell into place, creating a horrific picture. The cop outside was texting, and I was receiving a text from Dave. The cop was Dave? No. Dave is a huge guy. The man outside was skinny. Then the realization hit me like a physical blow to the gut. The man outside wasn't Dave, but he was holding Dave's phone, and the person who had been texting me as Dave for the last 20 minutes was the killer, which meant Dave was already dead, and so was Josh, and so were Arthur and his family. I was the only one left. Part 4, the fire escape. I didn't reply to the text. I didn't say a word to the man outside. I ran to the kitchen and grabbed the biggest knife I could find, a serrated bread knife. Then I dragged a heavy armchair in front of the front door. The man outside started kicking the door. Thud, thud, thud. Open the door, Mark, he screamed. The pretense of being a cop was gone. His voice was unhinged, guttural, filled with rage. But the door was solid oak. It would hold for a while. Then, the kicking stopped. I heard him laughing. A low, wet chuckle that vibrated through the wood. Check your window, Mark, he whispered through the door. My blood froze in my veins. The fire escape. I live on the 4th floor. The metal fire escape runs down the back of the building, passing my living room window. If they had killed Dave in 5A, that meant they had access to the 5th floor. They could climb down. I spun around to face the living room. The curtains were drawn, but I could hear it. Clang, screech. Metal grinding against metal. Boots on the iron grates. Someone was coming down from the floor above. I gripped the knife, my hands sweating. I stood in the middle of the room, waiting. I saw a silhouette through the thin curtains. A man, crouching on the balcony outside my window. He tapped on the glass. Tap, tap, tap. Then, he slowly pulled the window up. I had forgotten to lock it. The curtains billowed in the cold night wind. A man stepped into my apartment. He wasn't the fake cop. This was a second man. He was wearing dark clothes and holding a crowbar. He smiled at me. His teeth were stained red. End of the line, neighbor. He sneered. He took a step toward me, raising the crowbar. I raised my knife, ready to fight, ready to die. But then he stopped. His eyes, which had been locked on me, suddenly shifted. He was looking over my shoulder. His confident smile faltered. His mouth opened slightly. "What is that?" he whispered. I didn't turn around. I thought it was a trick. "I'm not falling for that," I yelled, but the man began to shake. He took a step back toward the window. "Get it away from me," he whimpered. "Why does it look like that?" He wasn't looking at me. He was looking at something standing in the hallway behind me. The man dropped his crowbar. He scrambled backward, terrified, forgetting he was on a narrow fire escape balcony. "No, don't touch me," he screamed at the empty air. He tripped over the sill. His weight shifted too far back. He flailed, grabbing at the curtains, ripping them down as he fell. I heard a scream that faded rapidly, followed by a sickening, wet crunch on the pavement 4 stories below. Then, silence returned. I was alone in the room, or so I thought. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would burst. Slowly, terrifyingly slowly, I turned around to see what the killer had seen. There was nothing there, just my empty hallway leading to the front door. But as I walked closer, I felt it. An intense, biting cold, and a smell. The smell of baby powder mixed with the metallic tang of fresh blood. I looked at the peephole on my front door again. From the inside, the glass was fogged up, like someone had been breathing on it. The Guardian. The real police arrived 10 minutes later. I didn't open the door until I saw the flashing red and blue lights reflecting off the buildings outside. They found the bodies. The man on the fire escape was dead on impact. The fake cop, his partner, was arrested, trying to flee through the basement. They found Dave in 5A. He had been dead for hours. They found Josh in 4B. He was unconscious, beaten badly, but alive. He had walked into a trap, just like I suspected. The moment he entered 4B, they knocked him out. And they found Arthur and his family inside 4B. The coroner said they had passed away early in the evening, long before the group chat started. The baby crying I heard, it was a recording. The killers played it on a loop to lure neighbors out, one by one. This confirmed what I feared. The Arthur I saw through my peephole couldn't have been human, but there was one detail the detective mentioned that sent a shiver down my spine. When I told him about seeing Arthur's face pressed against my door, blocking the peephole, he frowned. He said, "That's impossible. We found Arthur's body in his own living room. He was nowhere near the hallway." And that's when I realized the truth. When I looked through that peephole earlier, Arthur's face terrified me. It was hideous, distorted. It made me jump back. It made me afraid to touch the door handle. If I hadn't seen him, if I hadn't been so terrified, I probably would have opened the door immediately when the police officer knocked. I would have let the killer right in. Arthur wasn't haunting me. He wasn't trying to scare me for no reason. He was standing guard at my door. He used the only tool he had left, fear, to keep me locked inside. He made himself look like a monster so I wouldn't open the door for the real monsters. I moved out the next day. I live in a house now, far away from the city. No shared walls, no group chats, but sometimes, late at night, when the wind howls, I still hear it. Beep, beep, boop. The sound of a smart lock opening across the hall.